suppose everything is relative, because from the outside, it seems to me that the Greek people have resisted in huge numbers and with tremendous courage and tenacity. I realize it feels, someone described this moment to me as a low tide, where this is not a peak moment for the resistance movements, but I think it's important to keep in perspective that there has been a tremendous amount of resistance. And what I was referring to last night is that people have not just gone to a protest, but spent weeks in the streets protesting. And that should be remembered and honored. The truth is that those imposing this economic program are also showing tremendous tenacity in the face of attempt after attempt after attempt to resist these policies. And so I think that to me it's not just a question of how do you have another protest, because it's not that. This is a democratic crisis. This techniques, tools of resistance that should have had results, right, have not had results. And this is why people are in despair, because they are not sure whether they can affect power or how to affect power anymore. So it isn't quite fair just to tell people, go out and do the same thing again, if you don't really believe yourselves that it's going to have an effect. So, organizers, political theorists, have to be constantly reinventing new methods of resistance, new configurations for building counterpowers, and also new intellectual arguments to inspire people. And because this is a moment where people are understandably tired, understandably burnt out. This is a kind of a war of attrition that's being fought here, right? Where the Troika is really seeing, if they can outlast the resistance movements in one of the strongest, countries with one of the strongest resistance movements in the world. This is why what I was saying yesterday, and why I chose not to just rehash the arguments in the shock doctrine, is that I think the responsibility is on all of us who are lucky enough to have a platform, to push ourselves, to have new ideas, to put forward an analysis that may wake people up a little bit and think in different ways, precisely because we're fighting a war of fatigue, despair, depression, and I'm a Canadian. It's not really my role to get that involved in Greek politics. This is something that I'm involved in at home, but I know that there is a sort of faction on the Greek left that believes that this is just a moment to say no, to resist. And I don't think that's right. I think that, yes, resistance is crucial, but this is a moment to be also saying yes and articulating the yeses and showing that they're possible, and inspiring hope in people and answering this mantra of there is no alternative. Because from the little experience I've had in Athens so far, and I did spend a day yesterday with the press, with the mainstream press, and I got a little taste of just how powerful this idea is that there is no alternative. I joked yesterday that the ghost of Margaret Thatcher is alive and well and living in Athens. And it really is true. So in this context, it becomes so much more important to shatter that myth, to shatter that lie in everything that we do, living the alternatives in the way we organize, which is true for the people who organize BFAS. But it's also true for intellectuals, it's also true for political parties. Resistance alone is not enough.